Welcome to the Firebelly Social Show. We're focused on talking to food and beverage brands that are on a mission to make the world better.
Hey, everyone. Duncan here with another episode of the Firebelly Social Show, where I chat with founders and leaders of mission-driven food and beverage brands. Today, we're exploring the delicate balance of art and strategy and unforgettable design with Anna Ison, founder and principal creative at Auros Design. It is a lean, expert-led studio that helps CPG brands stand out and scale through smart, impactful packaging and branding. First, a quick shout out to our sponsor, Firebelly Marketing. At Firebelly, we partner with mission-driven food and beverage brands to build vibrant communities and spark real conversations and drive retail velocity through social media. So if you're ready to talk social for your brand, head to firebellymarketing.com and see how we can support you. Couple other sponsors today. Eric Martindale from Elite Commerce Group is one of the sponsors. And if you want to know anything about retail media, Amazon, you should talk to Eric Martindale. And we're going to give a shout out also to Flavor Studio and Gregory Willis, who is the reason why I am talking to Anna today. So thank you to Eric and Gregory. So joining us today is Anna, the creative force beneath Auros, bringing 2 decades of experience shaping standout packaging, brand identities, brands that you would certainly know, many that are emerging, much of it alongside top creative talent in New York City. So now she's at the helm of her own focused boutique studio. Anna collaborates with both emerging and established brands to deliver design strategy so much. She does so much that truly perform on a shelf. And her mission is to elevate brand visibility, create intentional design, and forge lasting connections with consumers and retail buyers. Welcome, Anna.
Thank you so much for having me. This is exciting. Thank you, Duncan.
Of course. I'm so happy that Gregory challenged me. He was like, well, why haven't you had her on the show yet?
He's challenging me because I told him how introverted I am, and being on social media is really hard for me, and I have to work to put myself out there.
He was like, I'm not accepting no. She has to be on the show. So thank you, Gregory.
Thank you.
And the green suit, right? So,
Yeah.
Anna, you've worked with some of the biggest and best in the business in New York. What inspired you to branch out and start your own company?
Oh, that's a really good question and a hard one. I mean, there's pros and cons, right? I love working with larger agencies because of the massive iconic brand that they get to work with. I love working with people. I love being alongside people and just meeting different creative brains, not just designers, but strategists, different departments, topographers, vendors, people that are just super focused in their craft and loving it. I just love seeing that passion. And then I became a mom, and I wanted to have a little bit more ownership over my time. And that's really kind of what led to my move to kind of start my own studio. I love the opportunity to kind of talk to my clients now directly within an agency setting. Usually you don't get as much face time with the client. Usually there's a lot more layers, and you don't get to touch base and work as collaboratively. So this is really kind of giving me the opportunity to kind of really be a partner along with my clients. And it's really exciting to kind of see their brand come to life and grow. And the satisfaction of seeing their face and seeing what they envision come to life is just really amazing.
It's just basically a more direct experience. And,
Exactly.
I know that the larger the company, sometimes the more layers of project management and
Yeah.
communications and just kind of like protocol, right?
Exactly. And sometimes it's like a game of telephone because it's filtered through so many levels. Sometimes the designers don't get to hear directly from the client. So we're all interpreting, the brief and these kind of revision rounds in our own way. So, hearing it directly is really kind of a nice way to kind of work through it together.
Yeah. It reminds me of that movie Lost in Translation with Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson, right? It's like so much is lost when one person is translating it. And even if you have AI notes and all of that stuff, it's like there's a lot about the power of human expression, right? So
Exactly. And workshopping it together and really kind of being in the weeds together. You're not being shown rounds of decks, right? We're really kind of collaboratively workshopping this together in real time.
yeah, totally. And now look, I'm a huge grumpy person when it comes to top of the funnel awareness, so that brands are known and the organizations put the right marketing behind it, so that when someone is walking down an aisle or they're looking into a freezer or whatever they're doing, that they recognize the brand and this helps them, to buy it. But at the same time, we know that most brands don't do that very well. And so it really all sometimes comes down to the packaging. It's like, hey, can you stand out?
Exactly, yeah. And like even being top of funnel, right? Like what does that ladder up to? It's about creating a brand that people can recall in their mind, right? When they're going into for shopping, usually it's something that they already have in their mind. So they have to have that recall in, in their head and visualize what it looks like. And if not, have the packaging stand out enough to kind of break that routine, right? To break that kind of normal scanning of the shelves.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and it is fascinating. In another lifetime, I worked in the publishing business, and it was the same thing back in the day with books. It's like that spine, which is tiny, was sometimes all you had to work with, and especially for brands that don't get primary placement, right? It's like the package has to work so hard, and people don't understand, I think, everything that goes into that. How do you balance beautiful design with all the different goals that I know you work on, differentiation, positioning, conversion, white space? How does that all come together?
Ooh, that's a really good question. So design, I would say, is, both parts science and like art, right? Like it is a balance, but it really is about the brief. It is trying to solve problems and help bridge brands with people, right? We're not creating something just to look beautiful. Like that's part of it, right? Part of easy navigation, shoppability, but also blending in like the storytelling. Do people understand what it is? Like the very basis of, of packaging, right? When you look at it, they have to understand what is it, who is it for, and why should I buy it, right? Those are like the three things I like talk about during my like LinkedIn posts, just to make it very easy and tangible. Like that's very kind of surface level, but like the basis of like packaging, people should understand what they're buying, right? But when I, even as a consumer, me, when I scan the shelves for something, like I have to understand what it is before I'm intrigued by like, oh, this is beautiful. Versus like if I see something that's beautiful, but it confuses me, then like the opportunity is lost.
So just to recap, I love what you said. It's what it is, and why they should buy it and how it's different. Is that what you said?
Who is it for? Like, is this
It's
for me?
for.
Is it, am I the right consumer for this? Like, do I need this?
Do I need this? And what's an example of a brand that speaks that language to you?
I mean, a lot of food. I love working in food because that for me is so relatable. Like, it's so easy to understand and it's so, I think, part of culture. And like the fact that you bring it into your home, I think is really special as well, that you incorporate it into your life and like you share it with your friends, your family, like it becomes a part of like who you are. And I think in food, that's the place where it really starts to shine because there's so many options out there, right? So systems come into play, right? Those become really important parts of building a brand and a portfolio, right? It's never just one SKU. Like that might be your hero SKU that you introduce with, but usually we're dealing with systems here. And those are the parts that I really kind of gravitate towards in terms of strategic design to understand like, how to build out the architecture, how to help the consumer navigate between SKUs and not only between flavor SKUs, which is like kind of, an easy ask, but like between different offerings, segments of offerings. Or is one more premium? Is a little bit more, one more base, different target consumers.
I mean, that's amazing. And I'm sure 99% of the people out there don't think about all that goes into it, right? And then I wanted to introduce yet another complexity, which is all the trends that are going on and what, you would consider to be classic timeless design. How does that get balanced?
You ask such good, hard-hitting questions.
Thank you.
That's really good. I mean, trends are trends, right? We know what's trendy, like the dopamine, packaging, branding, things that are provocative, like those are trends, right? Those grab attention and they're made to be viral, but I don't see those as things that are going to drive longevity, that are going to build a legacy brand 10, 20, 30 years from now. Like I work with a lot of legacy brands and, those come with brand equity built over time, right? So it's really kind of building brands with longevity in mind, where we're not trying to stick with trends that are flashy and they're not going to make sense and start to kind of devolve over time where we're trying to build in distinctiveness, right? We hear about distinctive brand assets a lot, but what does that really mean? And that's really kind of creating a space that only you can own that people are not going to start to copy. Like I've had people come to me and say, "Oh, I want to look like Raza," and I'm like, "I can't. Like, I'm not going to do that for you. Like, I
Yes,
can't. You
exactly.
know, like we're not trying to build trends. Like, we're trying to understand." What is your brand? Like, what do you bring to the table? What is your point of view? And how then do we visually translate that into your packaging and into your brand world?
I mean, I wanted to tell you about this one. I was thinking about you a couple of days ago. I took my son to the milkshake factory, and this is like a hundred and something year old brand. And I mean, it says it when you're walking in, over 100 years old. And as you're walking in, it says now serving Dubai style chocolate.
Yes, everybody is.
And so I thought to myself, that's interesting because why is that out before you even get into their four walls, before you experience the white, and they're kind of doing this modern, malt shop kind of thing. But I'm like, maybe they're trying to hook people in with the
Yeah.
Dubai chocolate, but then they're converting them on the inside. So I just thought, I was like, wonder what Anna would say about this.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, Dubai chocolates everywhere. I like love Dubai chocolate. So like I'm all on board for that trend, but like also like I think also it's a marker of keeping up with like culture, right? Like what are people finding relevant right now? So finding ways to kind of connect as like a way in and then drawing them deeper into your brand. And your brand has to be a brand that has more meaning than trends, right? There it has to be have some kind of storytelling some kind of resonance and values and mission beyond like, oh, this is my new innovation that is the same as everybody else's Dubai chocolate, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was truly impressed, and even though I'm, 99% dairy free, and I had an almond milk shake, and it was really good. I was like, I gotta taste the actual milkshake because that's what they built it on was with whole milk. And so it's interesting to see, what you were saying, kind of in action. And I'm wondering, as you work with so many different types of people and founders of emerging brands, like they bring passion to the table, they've got vision,
Yeah.
right? And how do you, I guess, harness that when you're working with them to tell them, like, hey, that may not be the best idea.
I mean, I'm a very empathic person. I think that's been both a superpower and something that I've learned to kind of harness. I think working with founders is just so wonderful because they are so passionate, right? Like that is their literal baby that like they're trying to raise up, right? So working with them is really special when someone trusts me with their brand. Working with me, it's different, right? But then with an agency, like they might not be as open to some of the ideas, and their incentives are it can be different, right? Like there's different incentives for everybody. It could be a design award. Like you never know, right? So when I work with founders, I know that they're entrusting me with their most precious child. So I really kind of take that into heart, like trying to kind of work alongside them, listen to what they're trying to say in terms of how they envision their brand to come to life because they've thought about it so much. They have all that in their brain, and it's my job to kind of help them process that and bring that into life visually. I can guide them, help them hone in on like some ways in, but I think a lot of times they kind of go in knowing like what is the general essence, and it's my job to kind of give them options of, hey, this is how this could come to life. Like there's different ways in, and we can explore that together.
That's amazing. I love that. And so let's go along the same vein, right? So
Yeah.
you've been working with the founder. Now the brand grew, right? And they're now $50 million brand. And it's now time for a rebrand, right? How does that typically work? And I guess my question is, when is it time for a brand to think about redoing their, identity and packaging and all of that?
I mean, I think there's a difference between a rebrand and like a refresh, right? Rebranded to me is like you're really kind of pivoting, right? There's something that's happened in your business that's changed. Maybe there's a repositioning or something big that's changing it. And whereas if you're really kind of in the growth stage, like you've made it this far, something's been working, right? So we're not trying to throw away the whole, baby with the bath water, right? Like we have to kind of retain some of the hard-earned equities because, people have started to kind of recognize, the logo or the general essence of your brand. And it's our job to kind of work together to understand, what have people been resonating with and keep those things, right? I think of it as like surgery, right? Like it has to be precise, it has to be intentional. We're not trying to give a whole new face. Like people have known you already, right? You've been growing. So let's figure out, which parts can be optimized and which can be, removed for simplicity, right? Because we're trying to build these memory structures in people's minds, and we want to do it in a way that has the least cognitive load, right? How can we make it easy for someone to remember you and buy and make it compelling, right?
That's totally wise. I love it. Now, what do you do in a situation? You're an empathetic person, and you're working side by side with someone, and let's say maybe you came in midway, right? And um, maybe there was momentum already, and so you didn't like suggest everything, but now the sales are suffering. Does that give you more ammo to come in and say, "Hey, listen, I think that we need to revisit this." And how important does that kind of data, how important a role does that play in your approach?
I mean, they have to have data, right? Like, have they done any kind of testing? Like, what do we know? Like, without data, we don't know what's been working or not. Like, whether they've been doing it with demos and they're hearing it in real life, or if they've done kind of consumer insights and we have something to kind of learn from that. Is it an issue with there could be so many variables. Is it the product itself? Is it the packaging and people are not understanding what the offering is? What about it is not like appealing? We have to kind of understand like which levers to play with. Without data, then we're really kind of shooting in the dark. We can make it look beautiful and optimize based on gut. Like that could be a way in, but there's always going to be iterations therein, right? If you're not doing some kind of testing or getting some kind of data to understand like what is working in the market.
I think we should trademark that. Optimize based on gut. I think it's so much of that, right? And I mean, I was so fascinated when I was looking through your services, all the work around portfolio optimization. I mean, that is just a huge area,
Yeah,
especially for a brand with more than one SKU, right? So one
exactly.
SKU, no big deal. But if you got like 11 things or 15 things or 20 things,
Exactly, especially with working with emerging brands, right? They're really trying to move quick to market. Like that's like one of the things I hear often, right? So a lot of times they're kind of doing it in a way where they're not really considering a system and like the whole thing as once, right? Things are kind of iterating really quickly, things are kind of moving to shelf, but then when you step back, things start to kind of devolve because it hasn't been systematized, right? So then it's my job to kind of come in and try to bring harmony to the system and kind of look at the portfolio cohesively and also future-proof it, right? Because as you start to build out, there has to be systems for someone to help, you scale, whether it's me or another agency or designer to kind of help understand how this starts to kind of, build out versus being reactively kind of like changing colors or random fonts, like, that's not like systems thinking.
yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, design exists to solve problems. And so I think understanding the problem is something that, I mean, it is a personal, I don't know if I want, it's beyond grumpy. It's like a personal grievance that I have when people say stupid things like, well, we're going to send it over to the design team to make it pretty. And I'm like, you are completely undervaluing the opportunity, the approach, and the potential solution by saying something stupid like that.
Exactly. Design really is a partnership between the business and how to reach those kind of business goals. Like it's not about just making something aesthetically pretty like that. That doesn't, move the needle anywhere.
Yeah. And I also find it fascinating how your services are structured for all different stages that people are in. I noticed that one of the things you offer is strategic and creative support. So if there's a large internal team, and I think you worded it as when they're stuck, Anna can come to the rescue.
Exactly. I mean, that's another part that I really enjoy working with like internal in-house teams of like larger, like established brands. Like there a lot of these, brands of course already have larger departments, but like maybe sometimes in it being in-house, you've been at it for so long, looking at the same brand, it helps to bring someone in new to look at it from a different angle. And that's also really kind of nice to have both combinations of like fresh eyes, but then you have like the, brain trust of the brand from the in-house team. So that's really a nice, powerful combo as well.
So, the other thing I wanted to ask you about is I work very closely with one designer who has helped me to build the Firebelly brand over the last 4 years, take it
Mhm.
to a different level.
Mhm.
And, as a visionary, you tend to see things a certain way, and then you're collaborating. A lot of times it's like, hey, I don't think this will work. This is why it's not going to work. And there's this beautiful kind of layered journey that you go through. I was wondering, since you work with emerging brands and founders, what's that balance, I guess, or what makes for a successful relationship between a designer and a founder?
I mean, I think it's trust, right? Like that there is expertise here that I'm not just a pair of hands doing production work and making stuff that because I know the program, right? That's not what I'm doing. Like, I think it's really a matter of trust that you're bringing an expert that has the experience and has been seeing these patterns within the world in this kind of niche space, and that they have something to bring to the table that we should probably listen to. But it really ultimately is up to, the client to kind of, understand the relationship and kind of really be invested in the partnership, right? That it's not just order taking here, but we are mutually kind of invested in building the brand together.
I mean, and I think it's interesting because people who kind of follow, the principles of design and are solving problems, a lot of the cases, as in my situation, and I dare say with other people who are in a founder role, it's like you get very unexpected reasoning and data. And it oftentimes you have an idea and you think this is a great idea. And then the designer will say, well, can we look at some data? Can we do some research? Can we look at what comparative companies or products are doing? And I think that is so fascinating. And I love that you distilled it down to trust, really. It's a combination of instinct, data, and trust.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's a matter of like it's like almost like the analogy of going to the doctor and saying, hey, I think I have like this disease. Like it's like being self-diagnosed versus going to someone to help you like figure out what is really under the hood, right?
Yeah, totally. And how does all of this, I guess, get impacted, me being in the social space? How does all this kind of thing play out in social?
How do you mean?
Like, when you see a brand and a system and the visual approach and the identity, and social is this, ravenous machine, and so brands are producing content on the fly. There's no sort of the days of careful consideration about every piece of content, I think, are like 50% gone, right? And so there's all kinds of content. There's lifestyle content. There's all the TikTok style content. And a lot of it has nothing to do with the principles of the brand. I guess, where do you stand on that, and what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, that's why I always recommend my clients to at least invest in a mini brand guideline, something, right? That kind of establishes the usage of your brand. Like, how is your logo shown? What are some wrong ways to show it? What are the rules and guardrails around how to, use the brand and how it comes to life? What is the tone of voice? What is the personality? What kind of imagery do we, show that, makes sense for our brand world? So I think having some kind of brand book guideline to kind of give and hand over to agency partners, social, and have that be a guide for them at least. So they have something to kind of work within.
Well, now let's shift gears slightly. What's it been like being a woman and a minority in this business? Like, what has your experience been? What do you say to others out there that are trying to emulate you?
Oh gosh. To all my women and women of color, keep going. Don't be afraid. I think culturally I was raised to kind of like put my head down, be quiet, then people will reward you. Work hard. And like that's not like how like it is. You have to
Oh,
kind of
not at all.
speak on your own behalf. You have to kind of seize it for yourself. Because there's no other way, and you have to kind of work through the discomfort, right? Like for me to even be doing this is uncomfortable for me, but I have to do it for myself and for my family, right? Because who else will do it for me?
Yeah.
So
And let's not forget, you are awesome. So, hey, it doesn't hurt. I mean, well, let's give a shout out to Mike Levinson. Do you know Mike Levinson?
yes, I know his name. We're on LinkedIn together. He was
Mike
awesome.
Levinson is the man, and he has challenged me. He was like, obviously what you're doing is hard. Like, how do you, what's the key? And I said, I'm trying to figure out. I said, let me play you a quote. And he
Yeah.
puts up this YouTube quote, and it's Steve Martin. And they're asking him, like, was it the agent? Was it the movie? Was it, this and that and the costume? He said, you got to be so damn good. They, they can't ignore you.
Yes, yes.
And
I
I,
mean, you have to love what you do, right? Because if you don't, it's a grind, right? There are parts of it that are not glamorous, but you just have to keep at it. It's like a daily workout, and you have to find your flow zone within, those moments.
oh, it's like your daily workout and you got to find your flow zone. Really, that is the key, right? It's like the things that you love, you should do 365 days a year. You should never stop doing them. So, what about, this is just a gut question.
Yeah.
What about if you don't like doing something? Should you still do it or should you stop doing it and focus on the things that you do like and love doing?
You mean for work and career or in general?
You decide.
I mean, you gotta keep doing it. There's stuff like you're never gonna build grit and character without doing things that you don't enjoy. Like some things are just not natural, and like you not had that conversation about cooking, right? Cooking is not natural for me, but like over time, as you start doing it and learning more, and then you start getting good a little bit, then you'll feel like, oh, I accomplished something. Like I'm getting better. Then you'll start to like it.
Yeah. I mean, and I think I love what you said because my tendency has been with cooking, oh, fuck it, I'm not going to cook anymore because I ruined this dish. I just shouldn't even bother. And my wife will usually say, hey, listen, what do you always say about failure? You failed. Okay, what did you do wrong? And it's usually like, I didn't plan it. I had the wrong ingredients. I went too fast. And so you're right. I love it. It's like you have to really apply that. Now, before we get over to what you do for fun and how you relax, but what are some of the brands that you've worked on that have been some of your favorite pieces of work?
Oh, I have so many in my book that I don't keep track of sometimes, but I just love working on food. Like Velveeta is in my book, and like Deli Max, like these brands are like part of culture and in the stores, like Philadelphia cream cheese. I just love seeing work that's out in the wild and people are enjoying it, and I can go to my friend's house. I'm like, oh, I worked on that. And they're like all surprised and shocked. Or like, I loved working on Good and Gather. Like that was a massive team working on that Target rollout. I mean, that was amazing also. And working with Magic Spoon, like being part of these teams is just so incredible to be able to kind of shape what's, happening in the world.
That's awesome. Now, I have to ask you kind of a loaded question.
Okay,
Have
I'm
you
ready.
worked on a chocolate brand and can you tell us about it?
I have worked on a chocolate brand, but I cannot tell you. But it'll be an exciting one when it's out, and I'll let you know for sure. Yes.
All right, my approach did not work on that one. So now before we go to some personal questions, what's next for the company?
Oh, you know what? I never started this thinking I was going to scale. Like, really, this has been a lifestyle choice. I really want to kind of just achieve balance in my life. Hopefully have more hobbies, but balance, being with my son, my family, my plants.
Yes, 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 yes. That's wonderful. So the future holds maybe exciting projects, but you're not looking to scale, which I think is amazing. That's a great choice. Oh, you know what? Let's rewind. I forgot to ask you this. I know you've worked with brands that have gone from direct to consumer to retail. What about, we talked about Mike Levinson. What about brands that are pursuing, colleges or corporate campuses or airlines and some of these alternate channels? Have you worked on anything like that? And what are your thoughts on that?
I have not, but I think that's a really interesting channel because, people always want to get into Erewhon or, like Whole Foods, and because it sounds so glamorous and it's a little bit more like, viral sounding. But I think the people that are entering these alternate channels are really smart. And I think there's a really opportunity to do so in a way that can be really exciting. I think a lot of design in that area could be a little bit stale because it's not as consumer facing, but so there is a real big opportunity to kind of bring some like real life into it.
That's amazing. Now, let's talk about like how does Anna Ison stay sane? Are there any secrets? I know you mentioned the plant, so let's talk about that.
Yes, I love working with my plants. I'm not like the most knowledgeable plant person, but I love having my plants around me. And I don't know, there's something therapeutic and meditative about like caring for plants.
There is. I mean, and do you sing to them or do you talk to them or, are there certain times of the day that you look after them?
Weekends, and during the day I'll sit like and have my breakfast with them, but I don't sing. But if that's a, idea I should contemplate, I should then.
Are there specific plants that you're thinking about getting in the future?
I have a love for plants that love tropical areas, and I live in New York, so they all end up dying. So I have to kind of be realistic about like what can thrive in like New York like seasons. So that's a hard one, but we'll see. I have quite a collection, but a lot of it's just like common household plants that like clean the air, like spider plants, ZZ plants, snake plants, monsteras.
Monsteras, those are one of the most beautiful plants I've ever seen. They're
Yeah,
so
they're so dramatic.
gorgeous.
Yes.
And what about, I think a little birdie told me that you like to walk.
Yes. I love to walk. Well, I'm not like a big exercise person, so I really have to get myself walking to get some kind of movement in the day. And I find that walking just clears my mind. It helps me with my brainstorming too. Like I think it's just something about it just enables like the thought patterns to be kind of like a little bit changed. I don't know, something with the eyes and the movement. I think I read something about that. It's really good for kind of like clearing the mind. So I think that's really helpful for me. I mean, I live in a city. It's hard for me to like go hiking or outdoors, but like we have like parks around, and that's really helpful for me.
So I've heard this so many times, and it's been said to me. I've heard it being said to other people that for people who take so much out of themselves,
Yeah,
give to their work, right?
yeah,
Especially when you're thinking conceptually and systems
yeah,
and the context and the environment and the consumer is so much that goes. It's such a complex environment, and you're giving so much of yourself.
yeah.
What do you say to people, who are either getting started in design or are doing work that's complex? What should they put into their mind and into their systems themselves?
Ooh, you ask such good questions because it is like I find it the closest thing to magic nowadays that like this thing is coming out of you and you're bringing it into life. So it does take, I think, stepping away from the computer, like looking around life and being inspired. I try to schedule in like time on Fridays to like go to a museum or something to inspire myself that's not directly like related to brief and like packaging, right? Like what are other areas of your life that you can draw inspiration from? And that could be anything, stories, reading, writing, like other areas of creativity that can get you excited again without the confines of, hey, I have to solve this problem, like just for the pure joy of it.
Yeah, and I think it can be different for different people too. Like
Yeah,
I love that you said you got to do it on a regular basis. You can expect failure, and putting yourself, whether it's a walk or a workout, or whether you're traveling or you're just going to your local coffee shop or trying a new dumpling or a new
yeah,
cuisine.
yeah.
Music does it for some people.
Yes.
Some people need silence.
Yes, I have a lot of quiet time too. Yeah, that helps a lot. And just even sometimes like just taking a walk with a friend, like hearing about what they're working on and being inspired by that.
That's amazing. Now, are you involved with any kind of music? I have to ask this question. Do you like music? Do you hate music? Do you love music? Are you indifferent about music?
I like music. I can't play any instruments, but I particularly enjoy jazz. I'm actually seeing a show with my friend on next weekend, so I'm really excited about that.
Now, I've got a new question in my lineup, and you're the first person I'm going to try it
Okay,
on.
yeah, thank you.
So, what are your thoughts on the role of courage in your journey?
Oh, you have to be courageous. I mean, design, like even especially from my story, my origin story, being the firstborn of immigrant parents, like going into design or art, like that was unheard of. Like they did not want me to do that. I was firstborn. Like, immigrant parents come with so much hope and like all of the future rides on you. So
Totally.
yeah, you have to have courage to pursue what you feel like you're made to do and do it in a way that fulfills your full potential. Yeah, you have to keep doing it.
I mean, what you said is so layered because when you're involved with any kind of immigrant journey, you have the old country and who you are in that context. You have who you are in an American context. You
Yeah,
have who you are in a private American context. You have who you are with your friends, and it's such a complex, that must be my word today, complex. I think that
Yeah.
it's such a layered thing, right? And when you talk about the old country, it's like you're talking about your parents' aspirations and balancing your parents' aspirations for you with your
Yeah.
own aspirations and say,
Right.
hey, how do I balance that? And it can be I have found it to be very difficult.
Yeah, well, it's having the courage to kind of move beyond that scarcity mindset that we kind of grew up with, that survival, that fear, right? Moving beyond fear. And the design world, the work that we do, I mean, we face daily, hourly criticism. Like that's part of the job, like, right? You have to face it in a way that's it's not personal. It's not about me as a person, like the work that I deliver, right? Because it's constantly being critiqued, evaluated the whole cycle of the packaging that, from inception to on shelf, like it's always being evaluated. So having courage there that like, how can I receive this feedback in a way that is not going to like harm my own mental health because like, oh, this person didn't think that I did a good job or whatever, right? I think courage is required to be human, right? We have to be courageous.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And everyone can be courageous, whether they realize it or not. It's so much more than bravery. But I love what you said about we're constantly being critiqued, we're constantly being assessed. I think that we sometimes have to get to a place that, your best work may fail,
Mhm.
and your best work may go unseen, and
Yeah.
you don't stop doing it, you keep doing it.
Yeah, and then also redefining what is your best work, right? Like, did it like some people want to win awards, some people, want to make a lot of money. Like, how are you defining success, right?
That's a beautiful, beautiful insight. Success is so many things, and wealth is so many things, right? People
Yeah,
don't think
exactly.
about community and the sense of place that they have and where they are in their journey.
Exactly. Like satisfaction, feeling of happy about, what you contributed to the world, is it positive, like things like that.
Well, anything else you want to say today before we wrap it up?
I mean, this has been wonderful. You asked so many great questions that has really got me thinking like even more. Like that's awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
No, thank you, and thank you to all the people that were giving me a hard time. And I hadn't even met you, and they were giving me a hard time.
Really. I'm so glad we connected.
It's nothing like, friendship under pressure. So that's really great. And what an inspiring and insight-rich conversation, Anna. For those of you that forgot, Anna Ison, founder of Auros Design, please reach out to her. Auros Design, it's Auros.design. It's one of the cool websites. From big picture brand strategy to impactful shelf appeal, Anna brings such an uncommon blend of expertise, creativity, and heart to the table. And in my short friendship with her, I've been so inspired. So if you could use a refresh on your visual identity, if your teams run into problems or you need to do some very big picture thinking about your portfolio, I think you should head over to Auros.design, AUROS, to discover how Anna can elevate and how she can help. If your social media is ready to grow, Firebelly Marketing is here to help. Visit firebellymarketing.com to learn how we partner with mission-driven and beverage brands to build thriving communities. And one last shout out to Eric Martindale, Elite Commerce. We'll give Mike Levinson a shout out too. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, keep up with the show. We just launched our own Instagram and LinkedIn channels. So until next time, keep showing up, standing out, and building with purpose. And one more time, thank you, Anna, so much. This has been
Thank
a
you.
wonderful, wonderful conversation.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to the Firebelly Social Show. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.